How often are you firing from the hip versus scoping in? You might be surprised to learn that firing from the hip is actually very accurate in close range quarters. Today we're going to talk through a fan requested video of understanding the difference of when to scope in and when to fire from the hip. Most of the weapons in this game are built to fire from the hip with a decent amount of accuracy. Even those single shot precision rifles are pretty accurate when hip fired in close quarters. Firing from the hip can be a great tool, especially when you don't need to be hitting precision shots, or you have a slower scoped in sensitivity and trying to track a fast moving target in close range is not possible because of the sensitivity you have. Learning when to fire from the hip versus scoping in can be a bit of a juggling act. It takes time to understand the balance, but you'll be surprised to find out how accurate you can be and how many eliminations you can stack up when hip firing in close quarters. The accuracy of firing from the hip depends on something known as dispersion. And if you've played this game without changing your reticle settings, you will have a dispersion reticle on by default. I play without it on, so in my clips you won't see it, so you won't see it here, but I'll showcase what the dispersion reticle is at the very back of this video in case you're curious to understand it at a deeper level. For now, just understand that firing from the hip has much less accuracy than being scoped in, but when you're in the close range quarters, as long as you're keeping your cursor on the enemy, you are going to be hitting a majority of your shots, which may be the surprising part to find out. A good rule of thumb for when to swap to hip fire is if you're scoped in within a closer ranged engagement and are missing your shots and missing the target completely. I recommend at that point to just pull yourself out of ADS and just begin to fire from the hip, really focusing on keeping your cursor on the very center of the target. Once you feel you've locked your cursor back on the target, the best thing you can do in some cases is scope back in right into the center of that player's mass, allowing you to hit the rest of those precision shots to finish the target up before they can finish you. This red circular reticule is the dispersion reticule. The way this reticle works is it will show you the outer bounds of where your bullets can go, but the bullets will never fire outside of that circle, letting you know essentially what your accuracy is when firing from the hip. Firing from the hip is actually really effective, as you can see. The reason that is if you notice, these practice range dummies take up a big portion of that circular space in the dispersion reticule, meaning you're hitting a good volume of shots when you're firing from the hip. Things to keep in mind is that your dispersion reticule is best when you're standing still and even better when you're crouched. When you're moving, it gets wider, and when you're shooting, it gets wider. So moving and shooting at the same time will be the least accurate approach, but even still, it is an effective overall strategy. That's it for me today, y'all. Thanks for watching.